All right. So Titanfall 2 is the game of the day. I have not finished the game. I've certainly not played nearly enough of the multiplayer to speak on that yet. I only just got a code a couple days ago, and have been very busy. So I've been playing it. I didn't go to the review events. Basically, every review you read that came out about I don't know a week or so ago was based on a review event that a lot of game critics attended. I mistrust these review events simply because, well, most of the time people are flown out there, wined and dined. Um, I think that compromises your ability to be at least partly objective and honest. I also think that sort of being in that cloistered setting isn't always the best way to play a game, though it can be convenient, to just sit down and have nothing else to do. So, anyways, I've been playing the campaign, and I just had to take a minute and stop playing to say, holy shit, it's fucking great. It's a really good game. It's like, this is the game that Titanfall 1 should have been. If this campaign had been in Titanfall 1, everyone would be drooling over what a game changer it is and what an amazing franchise it's going to become. Because this is a really good game. The levels are all so different from one another. I mean, just the basics of gunplay and everything, both in a Titan and outside as a pilot, are exactly what you might expect. And there's some great guns. It's a really engaging shooter. But then on top of that, there's all this really interesting platforming. Whether that's just wall running to get up a big cliffside or something, or a chute inside a building, or whether it's like there's one level where you're in a manufacturing plant where they're making prefab houses. Basically, there's all these big arms sort of gathering or lifting these big slabs and then rotating them, and you make your way through this whole thing. And there are times where you have to go out on one of these slabs, then jump and wall run on another slab before this one lifts up, and then bounce back over to it, and bounce back over back, and really just really cool platforming. I mean, really great use of the movement mechanics in this game, just in terms of the level design, and it's so different. It's such a nice change of pace from most first-person shooters that we've had. Take like all the new Call of Duties that have come out. These have things like wall running and double jumps, but in the campaign, it's so diminished. You barely use these mechanics. I mean, occasionally they're sort of optional, but in Titanfall 2, I mean, they are core gameplay. And then they go even further. There's a level where you're going through this sort of ruined science facility, and you start getting these weird visions, and you're like warping into this other time, and then you find a device that lets you, with the L1 button, just click back and forth into both this present day, which is it's just ruined, covered by these alien monsters and these sort of half dead robots. Click, and you're in the past, where it's a research facility with security guards and stuff. And this is actually tied directly into platforming, so that there might be like a fiery hallway, and you have to click and go into the past so that you get past the fire. But then there's a locked door, so you have to click. Oh, and now the door's broken down in the present. So there's all these different platforming or exploration bits that you have to use that time mechanic for, and that's just in that mission. And then of course there's the Titanfall, or the Titan gameplay, where you're in a mech, which is often used in boss fights and whatnot. And then the pilot gameplay. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not going to get into everything because I don't want to spoil it, but it just feels really good. The shooting's really tight. It's really fun to punch people like they go flying. The story, is all right. It's kind of a little lighthearted. It's fun that you can make dialogue choices with your mech BT. And some of that dialogue is genuinely funny. I have chuckled audibly while playing. It definitely doesn't have this feel of like this desperate, dark, gritty shooter. It's got a much more lighthearted feel, and I really appreciate that. I wouldn't say it's like goofy, like it's not Far Cry Blood Dragon or something, which it's kind of too bad because that game was hilarious. But it's certainly no like Black Ops 2 or something, or Spec Ops: The Line. I mean, you're playing a game that definitely doesn't take itself too seriously. So this was my great hope. I was so hopeful that the single player campaign would be awesome, and it is awesome. I have yet to. This is not a review. I will get to a review at some point. I don't want to rush it. I want to take my time, especially with the multiplayer. But I can honestly say this is some of the most fun I've had with a shooter campaign, a single player campaign, in years. It is everything it ought to be. Respawn has done a fantastic job, and I'm pleasantly surprised and impressed with it. I hope Titanfall 2 does. I hope even more that it does well, because I would like to see this continue and have a third game with an even more expansive campaign that really draws on the strengths of the mechanics, like this one does. So if you're on the fence about Titanfall 2, I'm not saying rush off and buy it, because we got to see how the multiplayer does. But if you're a single player shooter type, then I think there's going to be a lot here for you to enjoy. And my experience so far has been delightful. Really, really, really impressed. So I'll have more to say soon. But right now I'm just very, very happy. Very happy to have a good shooter that I can be kind of excited about, because I find myself not very excited for shooters these days, and this is a breath of fresh air for sure. So, well, I wish they should have done this for the first game. The whole narrative around Titanfall would be different if this was the first game. So, oh well, live and learn. Peace.